Hey, my YouTube friends. Bonjour, bienvenue, welcome to the channel. Thank you for stopping by. Today I'm going to talk about the Palace of Versailles. I almost didn't do this video because Versailles is obviously so famous. There's so many videos about Versailles, so many other YouTube content about it. So I'm going to follow my usual format, give you guys the tour, etc. But you will not want to miss my insider tips that are at the end of the video. I put a chapter in there for you guys so you can skip straight to it if you don't want to see the whole tour or you don't want to like ruin the surprise of Versailles. But for my insider tips, I'm going to make your visit more enjoyable, save you time, and save you money. What's better than that trifecta? Let's get into it. Versailles. There's so much I can say about Chateau Versailles. I'm going to break this video down into three parts. 1, the inside of Versailles. 2, the gardens of Versailles. And 3, my insider tips to have a more enjoyable visit. So, if you don't want to view the tour, skip to the end. I'll give you my insider tips. You definitely will not want to miss those because it will save you both time and money. All right, so the inside or the outside of Versailles. In part, Versailles is massive. To give you perspective, I'm going to show you guys an aerial overview that I found on the web. Don't worry, didn't fly a drone over Versailles myself. The palace itself is 721,000 square feet. Over that actually. The gardens, the grounds, are 30,000 acres with 400 sculptures and 1,400 fountains. Wow, that's a lot, right? So, insider tip number 1 is, yes, that line that you see actually is your cue to get in. You have a 30-minute window. So when you go, be aware that that really long line is backed up all the way to the gate and you're like, no, I have a reservation. I'm going to walk all the way to the front because surely that's where I go in. No, it is not. You go in at the end of that line. There are 3 lines, in fact. There is the time that they are admitting, 30 minutes after the time that they are admitting, and then 30 minutes after that. So if your time slot is 10 a.m., the long line is the 10 a.m. line. The next long line is the 10:30 a.m. line, and the line with barely anybody in is the 11 a.m. line. So those 3 lines, right? It's not people who fail to get their tickets that are that long line. That's your line to get in. That's insider tip number 1. So as you go in, insider tip number 2 is the audio guide is on your phone. So that should tell you a couple things. And I'm showing you now as we go through how crowded it is inside, because I think it's important you realize the first part of your tour is going to be pretty crowded. So download the audio guide before you get there. The app is called Versailles Palace. You'll find it online. You can download the audio guide. It's about 600 megs. And you can, that way you don't waste your data. And you'll also be able to listen to it at your leisure. But more importantly, you don't have to pay for the audio guide, which is kind of nice. But also bring an extra battery because I ran out of battery like right on my way back to Paris and I had to navigate myself. So bring an extra battery. That's tip number 2. So as you go through, you first start in the French court and the court of princesses, etc. Versailles became the seat of French power, and the entire court at one point was based in Versailles because why not? It's huge. And so you get a really good taste of what French aristocracy got to live like. So I'm showing you various chambers as we go through. The popular rooms, besides the famous rooms, tended to be the king and queen's bedroom and the throne room. And also the really large rooms, right? The church was on site, the reception halls, etc. They had absolutely beautiful paintings. Tended to be the most popular. And once you cleared those rooms and you cleared the first, say, 7 or 8 rooms of any given area, it actually thinned out quite a bit. So take your time, understand, like, I don't like crowds, I don't do well with crowds. It does get better. Stick with it. So as you go through, you'll see the various rooms, you'll get appreciation for how the French aristocracy lived. Bearing in mind that if Versailles were built today, it would cost approximately $2 billion US. That at the time, Versailles was eating up 25% of the French treasury. Now, think that through. 25% of a country's treasury that controlled 25% of the world was going to support Versailles. kind of understand why maybe there was a revolution. I think if the United States government did that, most of us would be in downright rebellion if the White House suddenly started eating up 25% of the national treasury. So the most famous rooms in Versailles, one of them is the Hall of Mirrors. I'm walking you through that now. Unfortunately, the Hall of Mirrors is as crowded as you'd think it would be. And that's okay, right? It is what it is. But there are 357 mirrors in the Hall of Mirrors, and all this is in the audio guide. But it was kind of a feat. What's not in the audio guide is that France had a problem because they wanted everything in Versailles to be French, and all mirrors at the time were made in Venice. And so they had to figure out how to get the Venetian mirror makers to come to France, and they did. And when they went back, they were executed. Ooh, sucked. Bad decision on their part. One of the things that was in the audio guide too, and this was not told to me the first 2 times I went to France, is the decision to intervene in the American Revolution was made by the French king in consultation with his advisors at Versailles. The room is right before you enter, I believe, the Hall of Mirrors. I could be wrong on that, but they'll tell you in the audio guide what specific room it was, which to me as an American, right, that's usually significant because I believe, and I think most historians believe, that had France not intervened because America had naval power, we probably would not exist today. We probably would have gotten, well, stomped by the much stronger British eventually. So all of that is really the interesting part of Versailles. The artwork is beautiful. What I found interesting too was the furniture. The period pieces to me were super interesting. I don't know why I have gotten the sudden love of furniture, old furniture. I don't have antiques in my house. I have a very modern home, but you know, hey, is what it is. So I highly recommend you take the time to do that. Now let's move on. So my next insider tip is pack your own lunch, because we're going to move on to the gardens. The gardens are absolutely breathtaking, and I don't even like gardens really, but I do like pretty things. And the fountains are absolutely gorgeous. The landscaping, the manicuring, all of that. And to realize that some of these gardens were planted in the early 1600s before my country was even a country, right? Was absolutely amazing. So here's another insider tip. You can rent a golf cart. I walked 30,000 steps the day I visited Versailles. I don't know whether you can rent those in advance. I don't think you can, but because the line to rent one was really long. So it is an option. I don't think you can take the golf cart everywhere. Like, for example, if you want to see the Neptune fountain, you're going to have to find it on the map, and you're going to have to park your golf cart outside the maze that gets you to the Neptune fountain, right? Because I don't think the corridor is long enough, and I didn't see any golf carts parked back there, and also there's not a lot of them. There's very few golf carts. So just bear in mind that you can do that. So as you walk through, you will see these beautiful fountains, these great places. Take your lunch, have your lunch, enjoy your lunch, because you'll get to listen to beautiful music, and it's just really calming and relaxing. So after that, you kind of end at the outskirts. You're naturally just flow towards the water sources, I think, the lakes, and you actually exit Versailles grounds. You get to this cute little area. I don't know what it's called, but they rent boats there. I'm showing you video of pictures, video of the rowboats. You can rent those. People do. You could have a nice romantic, rowboat time with your significant other. If you're like me, traveling solo, you consider all the people have a nice romantic time with their significant other. But make sure, if you have your tickets, that you have them with you, because you will not be admitted back in the grounds without your ticket. So you'll get a chance to experience all that. I think the gardens are well worth your time. I am not really that big of a garden person, and I absolutely love the gardens. So here are, my thoughts on Versailles is it's more than a day potentially. So kind of here's my thoughts and my insider tips for Versailles. Number one, bring your own lunch, because you can. You'll save money. That's the save you money part of this video. And I think it's actually more enjoyable than anything they had that's frankly overpriced and not that good of quality. So go by the boulangerie, go by the fromagerie, pack some lunch, right? pack some water bottles, because you can. I carried my backpack the whole day with me, so I had my own water, my own food. So once I got there, even though the ticket's like 40 euro, I didn't spend any money, which is kind of nice. That long line, tip number 2, I've already told you, that long line is in fact your line. Don't do what I did, walk all the way to the front just to walk all the way to the back to walk all the way to the front. Number 3, the audio guide is on your phone, so make sure you have an extra battery, because don't do what I did and run out of battery or nearly run out of battery and have to navigate back to Paris using your very limited French skills. So it's key that you bring another battery, and that you probably download the Versailles app. It's called Versailles Palace. You'll find it on the Apple Store or whatever your model phone you use, before you go. The other thing I would consider doing is, because Versailles is outside of Paris by over an hour, you could actually make an awesome trip inside of a trip. So what I would consider doing is putting Versailles on the tail end of your France trip. So plan on spending maybe a day and a half and spend the night at Versailles. Because what you could do is go in one day and view, or travel to there, check out your Paris hotel, check into a hotel in Versailles, see the gardens or see the palace the first day, have dinner in the town, explore the town, the next day go see the other one, and that will give you a more leisurely stroll and let you experience all that it has to offer. And that's the other trip, right? It's an hour outside Paris, so just be aware of that for your time frame and for your planning. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more, like I'm doing a whole series on solo travel and on things I do, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'd love to have you. Please also feel free to join the conversation. I'm traveling the world for the next 3 months to 3 years is what I tell people. And if you have a suggestion on where I should go or what I should do, I would love to hear it. If you want to see a video on anything in particular, I'd love to hear it, because my schedule is completely free. All right, thank you so much for watching. Take care.